about a small town in Massachusetts. And shortly before Christmas, I should say Thanksgiving, in this town, there was a problem at the Catholic Church. For one night, the furnace and the heater that they had in that building had been there for many years and started shooting off sparks. And eventually, it burned the whole church down to the ground. Needless to say, all the people in that town, and particularly the parishioners, were very devastated, including the pastor. And once they were able to go through and look at the damage, after the fire inspector had said it's fine, they went through looking for things that they could save. And in addition to that, there was another church down the road, not of the same denomination. A church really they hadn't had much talk with, non-Catholic church. And yet, the pastor from that church invited them and said, listen, you're welcome to use our place until you can get your church built. And so they did. But then things changed. When they first went to this other church and in their auditorium, wherever they were having the Mass, it wasn't the same. People who used to find their own seats and were comfortable there, away from other people, didn't have that. Because now they were sitting in folding chairs, very close to one another. So something was changing. And when they started singing in this new place, something was also happening to each of them. Music was different. It's like here. The music is different from other places. And once the Mass was finished, the pastor then picked out team members. People, a team that would go take care of, look into the insurance, check out an architect to build a new church, another team to see how they would be able to raise funds. And there were other churches around that gave them hymnals and tried to help them out, and some of them even had collections for them. There was an epiphany there, because things changed for those people. They came to let the God within them burst forth. They let it go forth among them to build this community up. And this little story struck me because it reminds me an awful lot of this place. In the last few weeks, there's been a lot of things taking place here. We had a lot of preparation for our Christmas celebrations. And many of you have been part of that in the sense you were willing to come out and help and volunteer, whether it's setting up chairs or whatever else it might have been. You're able to extend yourself. In addition to that, many of you volunteered to be Eucharistic ministers, lectors, and so many other ways in which you could help. We had close to 5,000 people here for the Christmas Masses. That's a lot of people. And hopefully when they came, they saw that Christ was very much alive here. Because it is. Now, I'm from the East Coast. That's not an excuse. But I hadn't seen something like that in my whole life. Of people coming out, and there must have been, I would say, almost 1,000 from this parish. They came out and contributed their time, their effort. They weren't being paid. But this is their place. This is your place. And that's important. That's important that we continue to have an epiphany, that we show forth what's within us. Those simple everyday tasks, everyday things that you and I do. That's what's showing the light of Christ. That's what's manifesting Christ to those around us. And hopefully all those visitors who came here were impressed. And hopefully they saw the same thing that you see and I see day after day. And hopefully they come back and continue to come back. Because that's what we're called to do, to be the lights of Christ in this world. This world is filled with a lot of darkness. Another thing, I find that people go around saying, oh, you got to imitate Christ. You got to imitate Christ all over the place. Well, I disagree. By imitating Christ, let me explain. By imitating Christ, it means you do all the outward things that Christ did. No. We have to be Christ ourselves. Not imitate Him. We have to be Christ ourselves so that we see and hear and act as Christ would in our daily lives. We saw it here over the holidays. And it can be done every day in our life. And what happens when we do that? We are manifesting Jesus to the whole world. And as we begin this new year, it might be a thoughtful thing to think about, how can I be Christ in my daily life? In the people I contact with, the people I work with, the people in school, the people in the grocery store, wherever else it might be. How can I be Christ to my brothers, my sisters, my spouse, my children, and my parents? We can do it because God gives us that grace. God calls us to open our hearts to one another, to show forth His love, His concern for each other. Because we are His children. We are His special children. Let us never, never forget that.